You need to add that.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast. You need to go check them out. They're not politically correct, my kind of guys. Anyways, I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver. With us today from Boise, Idaho, Mr. Cody Johns. God damn, I fucked up again every freaking time. My writing sucks.
Told you.
Cody from Boise, Idaho, who is a mosquito abatement man. Is that safe to say, mosquito abatement? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct to say.
This is what's fucking amazing. We talked about
Bill Gates
playing God with mosquitoes, and I get this message from a guy, I work doing mosquitoes. I never knew there was a such thing as mosquito abatement, and I never knew that mosquito farming was actually a thing. And you opened my eyes to some of that, so I do appreciate that with you. So tell me about your job exactly. What do you do?
So I'm the manager for a mosquito abatement district in a county just outside of Boise. I manage about 15 people, and we run a comprehensive plan, like a mosquito control plan. So we do trapping. So we trap mosquitoes, we kill adults, and we also do larviciding, which is killing them while they're in the water. And that takes up most of our time. It's pretty fun. It's a good job. I enjoy it a lot. And we're protecting the public, as I kind of alluded to you a little bit earlier, is, an average of 750,000 people die in the world every year by mosquitoes. Most of those don't take place in the U.S. because we have well-run mosquito abatement districts and city programs run. So that doesn't really happen. But in places that don't have, running water, stuff like that, lots of people die by malaria, dengue fever, Zika, those sort of things all over the world.
So a place like Boise, Idaho, I assume you have winter at least 5 months out of the year?
Yeah, we do. We have a very rigorous winter up here. I do a lot of snowmobiling, little side topic there, but no, we do winter. So they'll overwinter just based on the species. So some of them like overwinter as adults, and some of them will overwinter in the egg stages. So they're adapted really well. That's why they've been around for a really, really long time.
Where do they go during the winter?
They die.
So any of the species that overwinter as adults, they'll go to your pump houses, under your sinks, wood piles, anywhere that is insulated and won't really freeze, but will hold moisture so that they can still have access to a little bit of a water source to be able to stay alive in the winter.
So they do live?
And then a lot
Yes.
of
They survive all winter long? I figured once it got cold, they froze off and died.
A lot of them do that don't overwinter as adults. So the ones that don't overwinter as adults will lay their last clutch of eggs, and then those eggs will lay dormant all winter. And then as soon as spring comes, their eggs get re-wetted by flood irrigation or just flooding waters in general, and they'll hatch out, and then boom, we're into summer.
That is, I did not realize that. I thought that when they'd all freeze
Jeff.
out. Okay, Andy,
You think they're going? How do you think they get there? Like,
what do you mean? I knew they laid eggs.
places up north in the northern country.
I
You
figured
talked about whenever you went to Alaska how bad the mosquitoes were.
The
You
flies.
think they just fucking
No, I figured they died, but I figured
Migrate?
they laid eggs. Don't be
you
a
didn't-
dickhead.
You didn't figure that at all.
So, anyways, these things, some of them do. What's the percentages of them that do survive the winter? Probably.
It just depends on the species. So, you have one female mosquito that usually on average lays 2 clutches of eggs. Each clutch can be 1 to 200 eggs. So one female mosquito could be responsible for 400 offspring. So you can imagine how that number gets out of control really fast, if not controlled by a mosquito abatement program. And my abatement program that I run here is actually the oldest mosquito abatement district in the state of Idaho. We were formed in 1960.
Wow. and one female's, they're like Democrats, 1 for 200. I just fucking shit up. So
Yeah, they reproduce well.
what I want you to tell me as a mosquito man, one positive thing that mosquitoes do for our country or for the world. One positive thing.
They're food source for a lot of reptiles.
So actually they they are a food source for bats and some insects and some fish and stuff like that. So they fit into the ecological web, the ecosystem that way, but they do a lot of harm.
Yeah,
especially to humans and
So if we could make them go extinct, we'd be better off. Yes.
Well, that's a big debate, right? Is like, we get into this genetically modified mosquitoes, which I kind of messaged you about, is the ability to eliminate some of these species like Aedes aegypti that are responsible for so many deaths. So if you could get rid of just that species, but keep the non-vector carrying mosquitoes alive and still have a role in the ecosystem. So you wouldn't have to worry about getting West Nile virus, which is what we have to worry about most up here. And then down south in Florida, you're looking at your dengue fever, your Zika, and malaria now a little bit here popping up. But
so we're going to talk about dipshit himself, Bill Gates.
This also says that mosquitoes can act as pollinators.
Yeah, so you're only the female mosquitoes bite, them bitches, right?
Yeah, blood-sucking bitches.
But male mosquitoes only feed on pollen, and then so they'll do a little bit of pollinating themselves, and then females can feed on pollen a little bit so that they can keep their energy up to be able to find that blood meal.
So Bill Gates has come up with these mosquitoes. Now, I'm not a Bill Gates fan. I think he's got a God complex like most of the billionaires in the world do. But you explain to me what he's doing with his mosquito is coming up with a mosquito that will be sterile, that will keep the females from laying eggs. Or explain to me what you put it in layman's terms.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him either. But he's basically helped backing this London company that's Oxitec, that's releasing these mosquitoes. And what they're doing is they're just releasing these sterile mosquitoes into the population so that when they breed with the wild population, they don't actually produce vile offspring. So those they'll die as larvae or not even make it into the larval stage. Their eggs will just never develop. So basically it's just a gene that they're alternating in there so that when they release them into the wild population, it actually therefore reduces the wild population. And really they're focusing on the Aedes aegypti, and that one is responsible for most deaths, and it's really hard to control that mosquito because they like containers in people's backyards. And I don't have to tell you, people don't really like people poking around in other people's backyards. So it's really hard to control that mosquito. So this is a way that they can do it. It is expensive because, trying to keep anything alive in a lab is tough, but it has proven to work a little bit, especially they've done this for quite a few times in other countries, and they've shown positive results.
Funny thing is, or not funny, but ironic is that with these mosquitoes that they've released in Texas and Florida, since they've released these mosquitoes, we've had cases of malaria that we haven't had in years.
20 years. Is that just a coincidence, or is that something that went awry?
I mean, I think it's a coincidence. I mean, who knows, right? You never know what's going on underneath there with all those billions of dollars. But look, a mosquito egg, we've had lots of invasive mosquitoes pop up, and they get shipped here on tires from other countries or plants from other countries and stuff because their eggs just hitch a ride, and it's hard to see a mosquito egg attached to a plant or a tire. And so then you see them move up. So we're just a short hop from, these southern countries that have terrible mosquitoes for us into here. So there has been, some isolated cases of malaria in Florida and stuff like that, not just super recently, but not too far in the past. And so I think it was a coincidence. I think that people make that leap, but like I said, no one can really tell when you're looking at Bill Gates and that whole money and all the deep state and that.
Right.
he's then said that he wants to control the population. So
Yeah, that's kind of a red flag there. They want to depopulate
yeah,
the world. Well, who are
100%.
they picking to depopulate? You know, so did Adolf Hitler. You know,
Right.
I mean, that's exactly
Yep.
what they're trying to do. Um,
Yep.
I saw a movie one time, and I wish what's the book that you read about the Russian gulags?
Gulag Archipelago?
Yeah, I watched a movie, and it was based on some of that, and it showed some people escaping from a Russian prison, and they walked all the way across China to get to a free place to get. And it was I wish I could think of the movie, but the guys they come up to a place somewhere in China, and the mosquitoes were so bad they were just eating them up. But they found some farmers there, and these farmers had something around their neck like garlic or something they wore, and the mosquitoes didn't bother them at all.
The Way Back?
I don't have a clue. It's a really good movie. But whatever it was, it showed these people with this, and it's crazy to think that they must have been something like that back in the days. The Indians back here had to have done something to fight the mosquitoes.
Yeah, we kind of talk about that all the time too, is because it's, how do they deal with it? Because we'll go, I'm a backcountry horseman, so I ride in the mountains with horses and pack in and stuff. And you'll come into these swampy areas where a beaver backed it up, and it's insane, right? Like, and that we see snow up there for most of the year. And so it's just crazy the amount of mosquitoes that can be up there. But like, yeah, if you were, traveling across the United States in a wagon and something like that, or just the Indian, they had to do something. There was something. There's natural remedies and stuff, like they say garlic, you eat garlic, that helps. Bananas with potassium, stay away from alcohol because the sweat coming out, it attracts them. So, if you like to have a beer on your porch, you're probably going to attract more mosquitoes than if you don't drink, right?
That's why they come to me on the back porch and not my wife.
Oh, they're horrible. I hate fucking mosquitoes. Have you had them bad this year, Andy?
I got that patio egg, and it's been a flop so far.
I bought the Thermacell thing one time, and that was fucking worthless.
No, those work.
Mine didn't work
Whenever
for
I
shit.
turkey hunt, I've got one when I turkey hunt, and then I just pop that thing on, and it works.
Right by where you're at.
Well, yeah, it's
I
only
put
got
one
like
on-
a 15-foot radius.
Mine-
it's not
mine
going to
didn't.
work for your whole back porch.
Your mom's got lemongrass or something plants all over our back porch, but fuck, we go to the pool.
Yeah.
So I don't notice them in the swimming pool, but I'm not swimming at night. But I there's nothing worse than a mosquito. I don't understand why we have them. That's something we should get rid of in the whole world, and it's never going to happen.
But okay, so let's flesh this out a little bit. How much are they wanting to decrease the population by? Is there any number that they are? Is there a goal set for? Hey, if we can get this many mosquitoes exterminated, it's a win.
Aedes aegypti wasn't here, 10, 15 years ago, really. So they, eliminating that population wouldn't do anything to the native population. So they're looking to try and get rid of that Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus and some of those ones that carry a lot of, they're vector carrying, right? And they're very good at transferring those viruses. And so I think they're looking to eliminate that population. But yeah, it's kind of, when you look at some of those huge Everglades and stuff like that, I think it's kind of unrealistic. You're not going to be able to get rid of, the mosquitoes in general.
Right.
It would take trillions of dollars to put that into the wild population where you could eradicate them.
Yeah. And then, Jeff, like if the mosquito was no more, what are a lot of these reptiles and birds going to eat? What's their diet going to consist of? They're taking a major food source away from them. Hefe.
There's something that'll live. We had when I was mayor in town, we had a mosquito. One year we had a wet spring, and we had a big mosquito problem. And the small town cities try. It's not like the big cities, but we spray a
malathion.
Well, actually, I think we use some kind of diesel is what we use. Is that right? Do people use diesel that they?
So most mosquito abatement, they're running a permethrin based product. It really depends on your climate. So like there's a lot of water-based products, but that doesn't work up here in our dry, arid climate in the summer. So we run a permethrin that's mixed with mineral oil. That's our main adulticide.
Anyways, whatever we use, the cost is expensive for a small town, and we were looking at alternatives, trying to figure it out. And we had a guy on the council one time, and he goes, "I've got a perfect plan for you." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "We need to put everybody in town needs to get martin houses, and that'll get rid of all your mosquitoes."
Because the birds?
The martins eat them. And he's like, each martin eats 5,000 mosquitoes a day. Well, that's pretty good, except we got 100 million of them son of a bitches in town, so we couldn't put up enough Martin houses anyways. But the cost of putting Martin houses in everybody's backyard was a whole lot more than what the spraying would cost. Do I think it would be nice to be natural and everybody have a Martin house? Yes, but it's not cost prohibitive. And I told him, I said, I've been to a lot of places that have a lot of Martin houses, and they got a lot of fucking mosquitoes still, so it damn sure ain't knocking them out. But that was his answer to this.
How do they carry diseases? Like, where does the disease originate in their bodies or mouth?
So they're actually just a vector. So they have to take a blood meal from a bird. Mainly your birds are your corvids, that sort of thing, are what's carrying the West Nile virus. And then they'll take a blood meal from a bird, and then they bite you, and that's how you get the virus.
Okay.
Mosquitoes don't transfer the virus to their eggs. So they really just have to take a blood meal before they get to you so sometimes they'll be biting a host and then they weren't able to finish their blood meal. They need more. So they'll go to the next host to get that blood meal, and they'll spell their little bacterium in there so that their saliva, so that they can create your blood flow. So it doesn't, clot up. And then by that, in their saliva, they'll expel that virus into you.
Okay. So my next question is it possible, if you were at a pool party with Magic Johnson, to get the HIV from a mosquito from Magic Johnson?
It's pretty unlikely, but I mean, I guess it's not out of the realm.
Like, I'm not going to a barbecue if he's there. Or,
Wow. Wow. You know what? If you go to fucking Oaklawn in Dallas, which is the gay capital of the Metroplex.
I'm not going there to eat either. And on the summertime, I'll go there in the winter when there's no mosquitoes. Can't get the HIV, Jeff. You're not worried about that?
No. No.
You know, people have been like eating there and see somebody with the HIV, and then like that mosquito's
see
buzzing
somebody
around.
with the HIV. You think they got a little tag on them that says they got the HIV?
They should. That way,
I don't think there's any records of that happening.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll find something.
At first, you have to have the right species of mosquito, right? It has to be a vector carrying mosquito, not just a nuisance mosquito. And so,
how do you tell the difference
between
a vector and a nuisance?
They have different color. They have different colors and markings. They'll have bands on their proboscis, which is, what they take a blood meal out of. And then, their legs will have different colors. Their body, their tarsalis will have different markings on their body and their abdomen and that. And so really you have to look at them under a microscope to tell which one each is, unless you got really good eyesight and can see all that.
Yeah, the most times when I'm looking at a mosquito, they're shifty little bastards.
Yeah, they're not hanging around.
No. So how do you safely
hold on before we get that? I want to ask about the malaria while we're talking about the disease. Why is malaria one of the major diseases other than the dung fever that they carry? What makes that where they hold on to that on their body or whatever it is?
One of the problems with malaria is you don't show symptoms for months, right? So you get infected with malaria from a mosquito. You don't show symptoms for 6 months, right? So in that 6 months, you're still normal. You're still out. You're getting bit by other mosquitoes, giving malaria to other mosquitoes, which then transfer the virus. So that's the problem is like when you're not showing symptoms, you're therefore a vector itself, a carrier, and you're infecting more of the population if you're getting bit by mosquitoes.
So you need to be, if you live in a mosquito area, you need to be drinking tonic water that's got quinine in it, right?
You just need to, protect yourself, right? Drain, wear protection, keep standing water out. And, when you're out and about in the evening time, nobody wants to wear pants and a long sleeve, but if you don't want to spray off on, then you probably need to wear your long sleeves and pants. That way you're reducing your risk of contracting West Nile in our case.
I've seen them fuckers so big they could stand flat-footed and fuck a turkey. So, and they will sting you through a fucking shirt anyways. So honestly, you can do all the precautions you want. If you're in a mosquito area, you're going to get a fucking mosquito bite if you're outside much.
If you spray off.
Shit, them fuckers, some of them eat on that shit.
Oh, no, they don't. I've never had a problem when I sprayed off, ever.
Whatever, Andy.
A little bit of off with a lot of DEET, you're good to go.
Well, they say DEET.
So we have a lot of We have a lot of irrigated pastures around here, and there'll be times when I have to wear my mask that I treat with so that I don't breathe them in, because it's just like a cloud and you can hear them flying with my four-wheeler off.
I can imagine so. But that's got, does that like give you like a hard on because like, you know, you're like in this target rich environment, like this is what you do for a living, and it's like, fuck yeah, they're here. Like you gotta be the only person in the world excited to see a mosquito family.
I mean, I'm more so it's like, oh crap, we didn't make it here in time, right? Because you know, I get to leave and go home, but that person's farm that it is, they're going to be, you know, paying the price that evening or the next couple days till I get a fogger out there to take care of that.
So I'm looking up HIV in mosquitoes. HIV latches onto receptors on the surface of immune cells. It can then affect those cells, replicate, and spread. Mosquitoes and other insects lack the receptor HIV uses to recognize immune cells. This means that mosquitoes can't get an HIV infection. Instead, the virus just gets broken down and digested in the mosquito's stomach. Because they can't get an HIV infection, mosquitoes can't transmit HIV to humans.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, your vector mosquitoes, only certain vectors can carry those, is because they lack the ability to be able to host that virus.
You know, that had to be a very scary moment back in the 80s when the AIDS was kind of going around and people figured out, you know, you can blood and all these other things. Like there had to be an oh shit moment within our government in the 80s. Like if a mosquito can transmit this, we're fucked.
I don't remember being scared of AIDS much.
Well, yeah, because you thought it was all homosexuals back then.
Yeah, I thought, you know, I wasn't sleeping with men, so it wasn't that big a deal to me. I had a guy that worked with me that did sleep with men, though, and we had to take a life insurance deal. This gonna make me sound like a real asshole, but this was kind of funny at the time. So, anyways, we had to go. We at where I worked at, we signed up for life insurance, and they made just go do a blood test and all that bullshit. So, anyways, we went down and did it and stuff, and they would give you your results back. Well, everybody else did it one day, and me and him were both off the day that they come and did it. So we had to go like 2 weeks later and do our blood work. So we were on a different time frame than everybody else. So we did it, got our results came back like, you know, we're supposed to come back within 2 weeks. Well, like 9 or 10 days, he come up to me. He's like, Jeff, have you gotten your blood test back yet? He was really worried and shit. And I was like, yeah, I got mine back about 3 days ago. Seriously, you did? I said, yeah. I said, they said if you didn't have to worry about it, you'd get it back within a week or so. But if you come back positive for AIDS or HIV, it would be like 2 or 3 weeks later, you'd know. Oh, he walked off. In fact, I hadn't got mine back yet either. I just told him that. Fucker scared to death for about a week. He had the HIV.
You wonder why people don't like you.
I didn't care if he liked me or not. But anyways, yes, he dated men. So, but I did not worry about getting HIV. I remember the Magic Johnson thing was a big deal. You know, everybody's like, nobody wants to play basketball because they're going to get it from him and stuff. Well, I don't know what kind of HIV or what stage Magic Johnson had, but he's still going strong 30 years after all that.
I don't think he's just got the HIV. He doesn't have AIDS.
He never got AIDS, but he got the HIV.
AIDS
but
kills you, right?
Yes. Do you remember that group Warrant that used to be here? Their lead singer had a shirt on that says, they used to have a thing that says Raid kills bugs dead. He wore a t-shirt in concert that said AIDS kill fags dead.
Oof. That's rough.
The different world we lived in, people didn't get all butthurt over that shit. But that was the shirt that he had. You can actually look that up probably. But anyways, I never worried about getting AIDS or HIV. So I don't think everybody was scared. But I could see where the government would actually have some
in the early stages of we got to figure out what this is.
I think Africa was the petri dish for that.
Oh, really?
I think so, because Africa is where it first came from. I think AIDS first came from Africa. And I think that was the petri dish where they had mosquitoes and all this other problem, and it didn't wipe out half the country there, kind of like COVID didn't. So I'm going to ask you a question. You said you're a horse rider and you're in Boise and you're in the mountains and shit. You ever see anything weird up? You ever seen Bigfoot?
You know, I listen to you ask these questions, and I've been trying to think about that stuff. You know, not really. I've heard some weird noises at night, but most of the time that's just, you know, cats screaming or a couple wolves howling, stuff like that. Main thing I worry about is people. You know, people are like, oh, you're always carrying a gun. I'm like, yeah, well, people are crazy. Like,
Yeah, the net.
90% of the time, I can get a bear to run away from me. People, you never know what they're going to do or what they're up to, right?
The national parks, biggest fucking serial killers in the world, run the national parks all the time. And nobody ever wants to believe that.
Right.
And then somebody gets killed and they'll be like, well, Jeff tried to tell you. Fuck, if you go to Yellowstone and you camp out, you better have a gun with you. You know, you're either going to get, well, in today's world, a guy in Denver, he got raped by Bigfoot. And then I saw in Mississippi where some lady got knocked up by Bigfoot. So you're either going to get fucked by Bigfoot, eaten by a bear, or killed by a serial killer. So yeah, stay out of national parks. So what's the weirdest shit you've ever seen up there?
I mean, I've seen quite a few people skinny dipping, just living off the grid kind of a thing, just doing their own thing. You know, you ride by them, you're just like smile and wave, basically, like, let's spur this a little bit faster and get out of here. You know, nothing too crazy, honestly.
You've never been scared?
I wish I had a great story.
Never been scared and like, oh, we got to get out of here?
You know, my dad back in the 90s had on one time where him and his brother had shot a bull and they heard a really weird sound on the other side of the lake in the middle of the night, and definitely wasn't a cat or something like that, and they hauled out of there. But no, I mean, I've been doing it since I was potty trained and I haven't ran into anything or had any weird experiences.
Had a bear get after your ass yet?
No, most of the black bears I run into aren't used to people. So as soon as you just make yourself known, they're hauling ass the other way. Like, we don't have any grizz down here where I'm at, so I don't really have to worry about them.
So what is the most effective way for people in their backyard to not have mosquitoes? What would you recommend people do?
The most effective way is to limit your standing water. So don't have any standing water, or keep your bird baths rinsed out so that they're clean. And then just limit your watering on your grass. Your moist, wet grass attracts mosquitoes. If you water just enough to keep your grass alive, keep it short, you'll have a lot less mosquitoes than if you have freshly watered grass all the time and it's kind of longer. Any tall vegetation, that's where they like to hang out when it's super hot during the day. So if you have tall vegetation around your lawn, around your pool, around your house, you're going to have more mosquitoes, especially if you're adding water to that.
See, what stinks, I keep my yard nice and my pool is over chlorinated, I found out this weekend. But my fucking neighbor, he ain't
What does that mean?
I've got too much chlorine in my pool.
How does that affect me that's been swimming in it?
Makes you whiter, I guess. I don't know. It ain't gonna hurt you none.
Oh.
But anyways, I've got too much chlorine. Fucking wasp is the problem at the pool. But my neighbor, he hadn't mowed his yard since 1984, I don't think. That shit's about 5 foot tall.
So what can Jeff do? Is there any preventative measures that he can take?
Yes. So we do some like yard residual or barrier sprays is what they call. So basically you spray it on your lawn and it's a contact killer. So they land on it, they die. The only problem with that is that really harms your pollinators. So your bees and that kind of thing. So you have to be careful about spraying flowering plants and stuff like that. So you're limiting your exposure to your pollinators.
I spray Tempo around my house and in my yard about every 2 weeks. Is that bad?
Yeah. Tempo's good.
Is that good or bad?
That's good. That's a bifenthrin product. I've used that.
Is that overkill on how frequently he's doing it? Every 2 weeks?
It depends on how much you water. So every 2 weeks is probably fine with you keep your grass heavily watered.
We water daily.
Then every 2 weeks you're probably fine, because every time you water, you're basically reducing the amount of product that's on your grass.
The problem is we got these little black bugs. And it doesn't matter what you do when they try to come in the house, and they come in because they're dead, because they're fucking dying of the damn strychnine I got all around the house, it seems like, with all the Tempo I spray. But every day Michelle's like, these little bugs every morning are everywhere. Well, fuck yeah, they come in and they die. You know, they're not like running around the house. They're dead because they're doing the stuff's doing the job. But I spray Tempo every 2 weeks around the house.
Yeah. I used to spray that in Aberdeen, South Dakota when I worked for the city out there.
Is there any estimate? Is there any way to estimate how many mosquitoes there are in the United States? No. Like it's got to be just some crazy, stupid number.
I mean, it's trillions. I mean, I can't even fathom the amount, honestly.
How do you catch them?
So we have CO2 baited traps that we'll put out. So whether you're running a CO2 tank or you're running dry ice, then we'll set that out, and then I have a little fan that pushes them down into the trap, and then we'll take them, we'll put them in a freezer, kill them, and then we'll count them out, speciate them, and send the ones that are vectors off to get tested for West Nile.
So whenever you freeze them and kill them, I mean, like how many? It's got to take a shitload to like even like look like you've got very many.
Yeah, like a pile like your fist is probably 400 or 500 if you don't have other bugs mixed in, because you're CO2, so you're going to attract gnats and other stuff, especially if it's a lighted trap. But yeah, on average, our traps will run anywhere from a couple hundred.
Those gnats are the ones that I hate more than mosquitoes when I'm turkey hunting, because they can get under my face mask, and they always get like right by like the brim of my hat and bite me. And for whatever reason, I like if a gnat bites me, I whelp up. Like it'll create like a fifth head on me. So gnats are nasty here during turkey season. I hate them more than mosquitoes. That's the one thing I wish that would just go away.
I don't understand why we have them either. Same with red ants and piss ants and fire ants.
Like how, like whenever you do this, like, okay, so tell me how you kill them again. You just put them in a freezer and then they just fall over?
Yeah, so the ones that we trap, we'll put in a freezer and freeze them, and then that'll kill them, and then we'll speciate them out.
And then you'll see gnats and other things in your just dead pile?
Yeah, and so once you stick them in the freezer, then you separate out all the mosquitoes from the gnats. Just throw all the gnats and the other bugs away, and then count the mosquitoes.
Can gnats be a harbinger for disease? No?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, fucking gnats. I hate them. And then so you look at each individual mosquito underneath a microscope and then figure out sex-wise and then if they're vectors or not?
Yeah, so only female mosquitoes bite, so they only have a proboscis. Male mosquitoes do not. So yeah, any of the males get thrown away. We count them, but they get tossed, and then we speciate out all the females. So then we have Culex pipiens and Culex tarsalis. Those are our two vectors that we have, and so we'll speciate out those two from just any of our nuisance mosquitoes like Aedes nigromaculus and Anopheles freeborni. Mosquitoes like that we don't test, and then we'll take vials of about 50 mosquitoes to the state lab and have them tested.
Out of those vials, how many times has it come back like, oh yeah, this one had malaria, this one had all these other things? What's the percentage?
Really, the main virus that we're looking at is for West Nile virus. That's our main virus up here. And last season we had 15 positive traps over the whole summer. We get some bad years where we're up into the 30s and 40s. We'll have 30 to 40 traps, and then each vial will have if it comes back positive, it'll have a positivity rate, right? So how many mosquitoes in that trap had West Nile? Was it low on the scale, or was it high? So if it's high, then multiple mosquitoes in that vial probably had West Nile, whereas if it's really low, maybe only one mosquito was
right. Is to get West Nile or any of these other diseases from a mosquito, do you have to have like more than one bite? Does it take a big dose, or can one bite give you these nasty diseases?
One bite can give you that disease. Yep.
Now, can it go to people that are healthy, or do you have to be kind of like immune compromised?
No, anybody can get it. That's kind of the scary thing
on
about
West
it.
Nile? Yeah, I've known a couple of people that were both very healthy that had it.
Have you ever had West Nile?
I've not, no. Been with some people that have had it. It's pretty nasty. It messes with your motor function, and it's pretty tough to come back through. Now, if you are immune compromised, or you're elderly, or a young child, or you have other issues, that will definitely compound those issues on top of what the virus is going to give you.
But I mean, it's got to be pretty uncommon to get West Nile, right? Like, it's not a very high percentage rate?
Actually, last year we did have over in Ada County, which is Boise itself. They actually had a death and 2 people get infected. We've been fortunate the last couple of years here in Gem County that we have avoided any human infections. So
How do they treat it? How do they treat West Nile?
you basically just treat the symptoms. There's no
cure?
No. You just treat the symptoms and hopefully that they can pull out of it. It messes with you neurologically as well. So it's just kind of treat the symptoms and hopefully your body and you're strong enough and healthy enough to overcome
We had a
it.
perfectly healthy lady here that's been in a wheelchair ever since then. Sequoia.
West Nile?
Yep. I mean, she went from a very active, outgoing lady.
Oh, I thought she already had health problems.
No, that's when she had
was
them.
West
And then
Nile?
that West Nile's what got her, and then I think she's had some strokes after that. But I mean, it was the West Nile that really put her down.
Are you worried about that? Like, I'd be freaking out every day that I go to work.
It's there in the back of your mind, but I always wear all my PPEs and I carry off and make sure that my employees have it and just try and avoid getting bit. Luckily, I have one of those lucky blood types and one of those where they just don't like me as much as other people. So
that is a real thing.
worked out well.
Do mosquito? They're inclined to go after a certain blood type.
Yeah, they like certain blood types. I don't know the ones right off the top of my head. I forget. But yeah, there are certain blood types, your diet, all that, even colognes that you wear or, what you wash your clothes in and that kind of stuff will matter too. Any of those scents given off there can make you more attractive.
Type O and the least type is type A.
Let me tell you something.
I probably got type O and I drink a lot. So it's like, I'm a double whammy.
And where are you going to be at next week?
Louisiana.
In the swamps.
I'm gonna quit drinking now.
And he's gonna be so worried he got West Nile every fucking night. He's gonna say, God, I hope I didn't get West Nile because I got bit today.
Well, how many people live in Boise? Approximately.
Oh, well, it's doubled in population. We got the California influx coming up here too.
And they only had one person die.
Probably 400,000 people. Is that safe or is it bigger than that?
Yeah, it's something like that. I think we're closer to 600,000 or 700,000 maybe.
So
now.
1 in 700,000 die.
Yeah, but look in the swamps of Louisiana, how many died? I think they get 1 or 2 per county.
Whatever. I'll fucking Google that search real quick.
What are you going to do? You going to stop living because you got bit by mosquito?
Maybe.
I mean, you're the kind of person that wear a fucking mask and lock yourself in home for 2 years if the government told you to. So
that's right.
What
baby.
the
hell? I do what my country needs, Jeff. 2 weeks to stop the spread. I'll find this real quick. It says only necessary 225 people in all of America
die every year.
That was in 2021.
I think 220 of those come from southern Louisiana, probably.
The COVID year, we only had 66 people die from West Nile. Everybody was inside. So, the most that anybody's ever died was 2002, 276. And then before we knew what it was, we had 7 in 99, 2 in 2010 and 2001. Was this did this come over those years, I guess?
Yeah, that was before I got started into mosquito abatement. I didn't jump into mosquito abatement until about 2014, 15.
So we had a relatively mild year those years. 87 people died.
Basically, you have grown. You lived in Aberdeen and South Dakota, and then you moved to Boise, Idaho. So you picked 2 good places to live.
I grew up in Washington State first, and went to a community college up there. Got my associates while playing baseball, and then got recruited to Aberdeen, South Dakota, to play baseball out there.
Ain't that where the split reed guy? Didn't he go to school at Aberdeen, Ryan?
You're gonna catch me lying.
Okay. Where'd you grow up in Washington State at?
Small mountain town right outside of Yakima.
So in the western side or the eastern side of the state then?
Eastern
the normal side.
The good side.
The normal side.
But not as pretty side, right?
I mean, I was right in the Cascade Mountains. So yeah, it was pretty.
What position did
I grew up kind of right near Mount Rainier.
Okay. What did you play in baseball?
In high school, I did a little bit of everything, pitcher, and then second, third, and then college, I was a pitcher.
Now, where'd you
I know you guys like to rag on baseball, but
It's just a boring sport.
It's an American sport, but it's pretty fucking boring. How many baseball games have you watched this year? Honestly,
Better on the radio.
8 or 9.
8 or 9. How many football games you watched last year?
3 or 4.
That's it. So you don't watch much sports then.
So I mean, I'm outside busy a lot. There's a lot of mental side to baseball that, if you didn't play it, you didn't understand. Whereas football's it's just action, right? So anybody can watch it and it's exciting. Whereas baseball is like, my wife doesn't particularly like watching baseball either. So,
baseball's a chess match.
It's a game within a game.
Yeah, it is.
Did you see the kid that plays for Cincinnati is going to make baseball maybe exciting? That De La Cruz kid, he stole 3 bases in a game the other day. But baseball needs people. Baseball needs that. They need something to make people want to watch it. They got to save when they had the juice baseballs and everybody was Sammy and then were juiced and they were hitting home runs. That got people watching baseball. And
100%.
But
100%. Anybody who says that wasn't true was lying, because it did. It brought people back to the game. 100%.
Where I saw, I guess the All-Star game is it this week?
This weekend in Seattle.
And the Texas Rangers have got like 6 guys starting of the 9 players is the Texas Rangers baseball team.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are. Dang, it's nice to see the Rangers good again. I mean, I used to like the Rangers back when, Josh Hamilton was hitting bombs for them.
They were exciting, and my family embraced the Rangers again, and we used to go to games, and I've got a couple of clients that have great season tickets. Two different guys offered me some last week for tickets. I just don't care about going. But the new Ranger Stadium is enclosed now, and it's 72 degrees, so it would not be that bad.
I'm going to have to take the family before we go back to school.
Well, you need to let me know. And
I'll look at some dates.
But I just
do. It's an experience. Like, going to an actual game is way better than watching on TV.
Yes, I agree. But I'm the same guy that went to Fenway Park. We watched 4 innings. I told Michelle, I said, let's go. We've been to Fenway Park to a baseball game. I've had enough baseball. It just.
At least you check Fenway off the list. Right?
Yes, and I don't have Wrigley Field would be my only other list I think I would want to do now.
But what can baseball do to make it more exciting? Because you don't want it to just be a home run derby all the time.
I do,
but you don't. No, you don't.
I want to go to a game that's 18-15 to be exciting. It's not baseball,
but then you're going to piss off the pitchers who want a low ERA.
Tough shit.
They're a major.
We've pissed off all the running backs in the NFL. I mean,
so what they did last year in putting in the pitch clock has sped up the game, and that's helped a lot too. They expanded the bases a little bit. They've cut down on how many times a pitcher can pick off. That's why you see all these stolen bases and stuff like that. So speed and small ball and that kind of stuff are coming back into the game too, which is helping it. Makes it more exciting, more action rather than, pitcher takes 45 seconds between pitches, right? I was a fast worker because you work slow on the mound. It puts your defense to sleep,
right?
Puts everyone to sleep, right? So the faster you can get in and get out, that allows your offense to get a better chance of getting hits and keeps your team energized.
I like baseball better when they were all doing cocaine and Vince Coleman and Ricky Henderson were stealing 100 bases a year. It was exciting.
Right?
It added a lot more to it.
Well, there's lots of stolen bases going on right now, so it is exciting.
And it makes the game more fun. But I enjoy college baseball. I think if the Major League Baseball wants to make it more fun, they need to put the aluminum bat in the pro baseball.
You'll kill somebody. Somebody will die.
Well, until that happens, though,
somebody will die if you do that.
I don't want to be standing on third base with an aluminum bat in some of these pro guys' hands.
No.
Would you want to be a pitcher throwing a ball to a guy with aluminum bats?
Either.
No, that's more dangerous. You're 60 feet away versus 90 feet at third.
And you're in a vulnerable position as a pitcher. Like when your hand is down and you followed through, you're not going to have time to react. There's already guys with wooden bats that get clocked.
Randy Johnson would only been about 10 yards from the fucking plate when he let go of the ball.
Right.
But baseball needs to do something. You can't change the game. The game is what it is. The problem with baseball is baseball has become a rich white kid sport.
For the most part.
I mean, here I am being a racist again, but that's the honest to God truth. It is a rich white kid sport. You go to a baseball, any city in America outside of small town America, you go to an average sized town, and the kids that are playing travel ball and doing this, they're going to baseball clinics, they're going to these DBAT deals, are rich white kids, middle class kids. And it may not be just white kids, but it's the rich middle class kids or the upper middle class kids that play baseball. Then when you go to a pro game, you don't know who the fuck anybody is because there ain't one of those rich white kids they're playing. It's almost all poor kids from Dominican and South America that are playing. Yes. We went to a Ranger game 4 or 5 years ago. Me and Michelle did the last time we went to one, and they named the key guys playing. I don't think one kid was from America that was even playing, which I didn't care. But I mean, I hadn't watched a game in a long time, and hell, I didn't know anybody.
Right.
You know, and that's just that's the way that it is. I did see where LSU had the first 2 players picked in the draft last night. That
they did. Paul Skeens and what's his name? Outfielder, center fielder. I forget his name, but yeah.
That
pretty crazy. That's the first time.
Them coonasses love baseball, boy.
And I like call it. We went to a Texas Tech game last spring. It was a lot of fun, but it's got more action too, though.
College baseball is more exciting.
College, they're playing all out. You know, they're trying to get. You know, they got more to play for. They don't have their paycheck yet.
Yeah.
Right.
But where did this kid come from that Jeff was just talking about that stole all the bases?
Is he an American or is he from an island or something?
Ellie De La Cruz.
He's a black guy with a name like that. He's got to be from somewhere.
What's his name?
Ella De La Cruz. ELLY.
Cincinnati Reds. Yes. He's on the Cincinnati Reds shortstop.
6'5", 200 pounds. I got some wheels on him, boy.
Cincinnati?
Yeah. Yep.
Lanky.
Yes. He's another one. He takes 4 steps and he's at second base already.
Yeah. I watched him do that. So I didn't realize that they had changed the rules as to how many times a guy can pick off. So that's what guys like him are using. Yes. Like, he can't step off the mound.
I mean, yeah. So as a pitcher, you're trying to keep them close so that you don't give up that stolen bag. But you only have so many times you can pick off, and you have to worry about the pitch clock that's keeping you on. So it's sped up the game because more guys are running because they know, like, oh, his odds of picking off are probably not.
Yeah, good. He stole third the other night, and they didn't even throw the ball. Third baseman didn't even cover third.
So they were shifted over, and the third baseman just kind of wasn't paying attention, and you're not going to beat him to the bag if you're already late on the jump.
Yeah.
He's from the Dominican.
I knew it. So I'm telling you. Yeah. They play baseball year-round down there. Best baseball players in the world.
Batting .328, 4 home runs, and 16 stolen bases through
He only started.
July 8th.
But he didn't start the year out in the majors.
Right.
No,
he's only been up for like a month, hasn't he?
Yep, just got called.
He was the number 1 prospect in baseball, wasn't he?
On June 6th, he was promoted to the major leagues.
So in a month, he's stolen 16 bases.
I have to start paying attention to this guy. June 7th, he had his first major league home run. He hit for the cycle. He became the youngest player to do it since Cesar Cedeno.
Cepeda.
No.
Cedeno
in 1972. He's a stud.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the number 1 prospect in baseball.
Oh.
How old is he?
21.
Well, he's going to have a lot of money in his life.
Yeah, he's going to get a big payday at some point soon.
Is Fernando Tatis Jr., is he still playing real good?
Yeah, so he's on the Padres. He's doing good. That whole steroid scandal thing kind of put a little black mark on his next to his name, but I mean, he's an exciting young talent that baseball needs. And
baseball needs steroids. They do.
Hey, you know what I've always said about, it's kind of a side talk. It's like, I think we should have the Olympics where they can do whatever drugs they want.
100%.
Let's see how high a human can actually jump.
Yeah, let's see what we can do.
I'm with you 100%. Baseball needs steroids. They need Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Steroids turned Sammy Sosa white, though. That's a bad thing about that.
He has vitiligo, doesn't he?
Have you seen his pictures lately?
He's got vitiligo.
He's got what?
Vitiligo?
I think he took some injections. I think it's called Clorox. But anyways, baseball needs steroids. Tour de France needs blood doping. I actually watched a Netflix series on the cycling at the Tour de France. That's really a very interesting sport to be as boring. It's cycling.
It's an art. That stuff's an art. It's your own unique thing to be able to do that.
And those
Like
Europeans,
goes into it.
they need NFL so bad over there, they don't even realize it. Them fuckers are excited about Formula One racing and cycling. That's it.
Right.
Fucking bowling should be
Well,
huge.
Every time we put a professional sports game over in London and over there, it sells out.
Yeah, because you got to watch fucking cycling. Could you imagine that's your fucking deal? Is, oh, geez, we got cycling for 21 days in the Tour de France or however long. In fucking a month, it's over. Their whole season's over in 1 month. And those people go batshit crazy.
That's your challenge. You have to give up football and watch
Fuck
cycling.
that. I watched that Netflix series and it was really good. I really, really, really liked it. And now there's one on tennis. You know, what was the golf one? Full Swing?
Full Swing.
And now they've got a tennis one out over tennis and stuff. And I'm probably going to watch both of those. But I enjoyed the cycling one. I really did. And I like the Formula One deal. But it's just, I like watching the sports and the back pages of the sports. But man, I just thought, what a boring ass sport to go out and watch. Because I want to see a crash. You know, if I'm going to go watch a Tour de France, I want to go on a corner where there's a chance someone's going to fucking hit a building, you know? And I'm not the only one like that. Or they're going to fall off a cliff. Yeah.
You were correct. He was using a bleaching cream that he applied before going to bed. Whitens my skin some.
487 to 4 now.
It's a cream that I have that I use to soften my skin, but it has bleached me some.
I told you it
more
was
than
bleached.
some.
Yeah.
I live my life happily. What happened was that I had been using the cream for a long time, and that combined with the bright TV lights made my face look whiter than it really is. I don't think I look like Michael Jackson. He denied.
Well, no, Michael's dead.
He denied reports of having vitiligo.
Well, Sammy's not a poster child for Black Lives Matter for sure. That fucker's whiter than I am now.
Yeah, he does not look good.
I remember when he came up with the Rangers when he was 20 or 19 or something. Well, he was a freaking stud then too.
You would have to literally apply that to every square inch of your body to get your skin to turn.
You think his penis is black or what?
I don't know, but I mean, like his eyelids are all white now. Like he
would thoroughly put it all over his body, huh?
He probably. I don't know how much he made during his career, but that's not a cheap hobby.
Do you think he'd look funny if his penis is black on that white body?
I mean, what else you gonna do? Gotta stay consistent. Wow.
But he is white. I knew he bleached himself out. Michael Jackson did the same thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Michael Jackson grew up as a black kid and died a white woman. So there you go.
Yeah, no doubt. What's the mosquito population been like up there? Have y'all had a wet spring and summer, or are we kind of down?
Yeah, it's been real wet. We finally just kind of dried out. So all the standing water that we have, our population just took a spike. So we're actually looking at hiring out for an aerial coming here pretty soon, here at the end of this week.
Does malathion do anything?
So back in the day, we used to have a lot of cherry orchards here, and they sprayed malathion really heavily here. So we actually have resistance to malathion in our mosquitoes here. So we tend to stay away from malathion just because we don't get good control with it here. But if you don't have any resistance to it, malathion works.
And
well.
that's just a deterrent, right? It doesn't kill the mosquito. It's just they don't like.
No,
it does kill them. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it put off an odor that they didn't like, kind of like that patio egg.
I mean,
thing.
it does. Malathion does have an odor, but no, it does kill them.
Okay, I got you. What does the diesel do that Knox City sprayed forever? Does that kill them, or is that just like that fogger that you see?
Yeah.
Kills them.
I mean, the products we run out of our foggers kill them. I don't know anybody spraying diesel, so I can't attest to that. Or
we're a little hickish down here.
I swear
we're balling on a budget.
I swear that's what we were using, but I could be wrong. I was only mayor for about 10 years. You'd think I'd have known that, but it wasn't my department really.
Right. That would be the job I would want. Like, go out in the middle of the night and spray these little bastards. Turn the radio on. Fuck yeah,
follow a map. So we have a tablet, shows where you're going to spray, and they just go flip the switch and spray fog for mosquitoes in the evening.
Y'all do it all in the evening? Is that just because that's when they're most active?
So yeah, we do it right in the dusk there, right after dark. That way, that is when they're most active. That's also when bees are in their hive and go to sleep. So we can avoid killing our pollinators as much as possible and control the population of mosquitoes.
Right. Well, you're doing God's work in a way. Just don't get out of hand with all this stuff. That's what scares me.
Right.
That's what scares me with Bill Gates and shit is like, what happens if we take this too far? Or what happens if we, some genetic mutation happens to where all of a sudden we got something that unintended consequences always happen.
Yeah, 100%. And that, I think that's what scares, people in general on something that's not, been studied for a super long time about it is how we know it's not going to mutate again after we mutated it. So yeah, it's definitely a scary thing when you start messing with stuff like that. But we're also in charge, and we've, sped up the invasive population on many species of mosquitoes and snakes and stuff like that. So we're changing the ecosystem all the time. So who really knows,
Yeah. Just by living everyday life. Like you don't ever really know how much you're affecting things one way or the other.
Right.
Like a long time, just by building houses and shit, like that's changed everything. Urbanization.
Yeah. Yep. You're forcing animals to live other places or move. And so, yeah, it's different.
How many different types of mosquitoes are there? Did you ever say that? How many species?
Well, there's more than a couple hundred. I don't know.
Shit.
Yeah. I have like 25 different species here in Idaho. But yeah, there's like, I want to say there's 500 and something different mosquito species. You could look that up real quick, I believe.
Good Lord. That many different how the fuck do we even know that?
Different climates and stuff. Well, when you find them in your traps and then they get added to a list.
Different types of mosquitoes. Jesus. Let me see here. Google never spits me out like a straight answer. I've always got to search. It says over 200 types of mosquitoes live in continental U.S. So more than 3,000 types of mosquitoes can be found inhabiting the earth. That is according to ecolab.com.
Right. Yeah.
Holy shit. And like the thing's not but this big. Like how many different variations can it have on it to be a whole, to have 3,000 different species?
Yeah. That's crazy. The different colors and stuff you'll see from different mosquitoes across the world. Like there's blue mosquitoes, like they're like the super pretty color blue.
This is mind blowing that there's that many types of mosquitoes. I didn't realize that there could be that many different variations on an animal. What's an average mosquito weigh? Yeah. Does it even weigh 1/100th of an ounce or something like that?
Yeah, it's very small.
Fuck me. Asian tiger mosquito. There's all sorts of shit. My mind's blown now. I didn't know that. Huh. Nasty little boogers. Well, listen, we've kept you an hour now. We appreciate you coming on here and shedding some light about this mosquito thing. Who knew that this was even a thing? What do the females? Do the females like? Does their diet mainly consist of a blood meal, or do they supplement it with other things?
They'll supplement with pollen as well a little bit, but mainly they're just host seeking for that blood meal. They need the blood meal to be able to create their eggs.
Oh, they do?
Yep.
Like
they can't lay eggs without a blood meal. They have to have that blood meal.
So when do they eat the blood meal? When they're trying to lay eggs or before they get...
So they're always host seeking for that blood meal. So they'll go get their blood meal, and then that'll give them their proteins and stuff to be able to create and lay their eggs.
And then you said that how many times will a female mosquito lay eggs?
Typically with environmental factors, and if we kill them and stuff, they're looking at 2 on average. They'll get 2 egg lays.
Now, she's only looking for the blood meal when she's trying to lay eggs, so she's only going to eat off of you twice? One mosquito?
Yeah, I mean, she's looking for a blood meal. She's looking for a blood meal to lay eggs, so she won't lay eggs until she gets that blood meal.
But what I'm getting at is like she's not going to search a blood meal all year long. She's only going to do it at a specific time when she's trying to procreate.
She's trying to get in as many as possible. She can do more if the blood meal is available and she stays alive due to environmental factors. like you got to figure like you're trying to kill them, cows are slapping them, whatever environmental factors usually take them out. But yeah, they're constantly looking. As soon as they get a blood meal, they're going to lay eggs. As soon as that's done, they're back looking for another blood meal. They only take pollen to keep up their energy stores so that they can fly. One mosquito, different species, but they have a flight range of 2 to 5 miles.
How much has it ever been determined how much blood a female mosquito needs to successfully lay eggs? Like the amount?
I'm sure it has. I don't know that number right off the top of my head. We're talking microliter.
Go ahead,
how
Andy.
many different kinds of mosquitoes do you think there are?
17.
What an amateur.
How much are there?
3,500.
That was my second guess.
Over 3,000.
Oh, I thought you meant just here in Knox City. So there's 35,000?
3,500.
3,500 different species of mosquitoes. Goddamn, can you imagine the person that tried to figure that shit out?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was.
What's the biggest mosquito there is?
Oh, there's some big mosquitoes. Your Freeborni are pretty big out here. Your Culicida inornata is probably our biggest mosquito that we have.
I can't even say that.
And that's a winter marsh mosquito. Other than that, I couldn't say as far as like in the world what the biggest mosquito is.
What is your degree in?
So I have a bachelor's in biology, and then I have a bachelor's in environmental science with an emphasis in wildlife, and then I have an arts and associates in science as well.
What made you? Did you grow up thinking I'm going to jack with mosquitoes, or how'd that come about?
No, I knew that I wanted to work outside, so I studied some sciences at my community college, and then when I transferred to my university out in South Dakota, I just picked up the biology and environmental science. But I actually went on a field trip for one of my classes, and it took me to the city program for mosquito abatement, and then they had a summer job, and so I started working a summer job and really liked it. So I did 2 years of that, and then I always wanted to live in Idaho or Montana, and so I made a bunch of calls and kind of found a job, and then just started working my way up through the ranks, and now I'm the manager.
It would take 6,300 Asian tiger mosquitoes feeding on each square centimeter of your skin of your body to completely drain you of your blood. The shit you figure out on the internet, Jeff.
That's right.
So the reason our mosquito abatement district was founded in 1960 was because the cows that came into the sale yard would be like 10 to 15% under body weight due to their loss of blood.
Really?
Yeah.
Can do mosquitoes give cows any diseases?
No, but they can give horses West Nile virus.
Oh, really?
So there's actually a vaccine that you can give your horses to protect them from West Nile.
Huh. Well, listen, we took horse dewormer for COVID, so maybe they could just give us the horse.
I still do. I took some yesterday.
The horse West Nile vaccine.
I live on ivermectin. I take ivermectin every 3 weeks.
Stuff worked. I took some too.
Fuck yeah!
I never get river blindness.
I take that. I take it seriously every 3 weeks. I take it just for a precaution.
Do you have like it set in your calendar to where you never miss a serving?
No, I just kind of remember. Usually I do it anytime I'm fixing to go on a trip. Because the foreigners, I don't want to, have them infect me with anything. But no, seriously, I take it every 3 weeks, and I haven't had any problems at all. Works good.
Yeah.
God bless you.
I haven't noticed any hair fall. Losing loss of hair. I already lost it. So
nails aren't turning colors. Good.
But I think it works. I think it does really good as a precautionary, and it's damn sure worth doing it on. But it's crazy as I talk about it on the podcast, I get somebody, I bet you every week I get someone messages me about it. Still to this day. So a lot of people are taking it. I had a guy message me the other day that got COVID and got real sick and started taking it. I need to check on him. He ain't messaged me back. He's still here.
Got him. Took him out.
Yeah, did you just see that all the vaccines got blocked? They won't let you take them anymore now?
No, I did not.
FDA. Yeah.
What? It's because the lawsuits are coming down the road on that shit and all this stuff they've been doing.
Right.
I did see where they said 1/3 of all the Pfizer ones were placebos.
Well, that doesn't
But
surprise me.
Pfizer got paid 100% for all of them, but 1/3 of them were placebos,
Right.
supposedly.
I am watching Dope Sick on Hulu. There's some shady shit that went on with OxyContin. I'm only a couple episodes in, but like the way that
is this a documentary or series just on it?
It's a series.
Okay.
But the way that OxyContin got like into mainstream, like doctors being able to prescribe it. So the guy that signed off on it being safe and effective and all that shit with the FDA, he quit his job right after he signed this into, being safe and effective to us, morons. He took a job with the drug company that makes OxyContin. So it's just like, that's just one of the things that happened.
Yeah, that's just a little.
Yeah, like that just happened. It's 8 or 10 episodes. It's on Hulu. But I'm on episode 2, and like that's already happened. So like, there's tons of shady shit. They said it was less than 1%. Less than 1% of everybody on Oxy will get addicted. That was way off. But it's a good documentary. So I don't believe a whole lot of what they tell us whenever they let that one fly under the radar. But that's with anything. I mean, you look at media in general. For 2 years, they told us that the Hunter Biden laptop story wasn't true, and there's nothing there, and it's all just a right-wing conspiracy. And then it turns out that, yeah, that was true. And then, they've told us forever that Trump is a Russian asset. And then that, what was the Durham report or something like that, comes out, and it's like, oh, no, that was fake too. We just lied to you. So, whatever.
That time you get with the program.
It's kind of scary.
Long way from mosquitoes, but it's all in the same. It's all in the same vein, I guess.
Did y'all ever shut down for a long time with all the California people there? Were y'all pretty much by summertime back to normal, getting that way?
We call it over the hill. So like Middleton, Star, Boise, that area, they shut down pretty heavily, but we're kind of a more rural town with lots of retired people and people that just don't care. Right. So it didn't really affect me at all, other than, we tried to implement a little bit of social distancing at work, but it didn't really change my life, and I didn't really wear masks. So I
notice every once in a while you'll go somewhere and you'll still see a tape on the floor where we were standing for 6 foot. I'm thinking, fuck, we were stupid. We thought.
Yeah, are people still wearing masks? And you're like,
yeah, I see.
Really?
Yeah, I see that shit in the airport every once in a while. I'm thinking, you poor fucker. And then you feel bad because what if they have a disease or a breathing deal where they really need to wear a mask? Because I'm always thinking, you pussy. That's what I always think every time I see one.
Right.
And then you think, well, there's some legit people that are having to wear a mask. And I feel sorry for those people because they're stigmatized with them other dumbasses.
Right.
You just automatically think dumbass.
Oh, every time I see one of them.
You don't ever think like,
you don't think that?
Maybe they've got something.
But if
you see the bumper stickers on their car and it matches the mask, then
if I see someone and they're from the Far East, because I don't know what word I'm allowed to use no more to describe those people. They had bird flu forever, so they've been wearing masks. But when I see someone that's not from that, just wearing a mask, I'm thinking, you're a fucking idiot. Every time I see one of them, that's automatically what I think. It's just crazy to think how far we went to that side with people worried and shut everything down. And I remember about pissing in my pants in Tacoma, Washington. I'm about to piss in my pants, and I ran in a fucking store. That lady goes, stop. You got to go put a mask on. And run out and get my mask to come in to fucking take a leak in her bathroom and then walk right out the door.
Yeah.
It was just a crazy world we lived in for so long. Well, hey, I appreciate you being on here. You've been a very informative person. And like I say, when you told me about the sterilization of the mosquitoes, I was like, fuck, that makes sense. I mean,
well, I'm happy that you guys could have me on.
I appreciate it. And it's just crazy that the reach we have, and there's so many different ways people make a living in our country, and you just don't think about that stuff. But I'm assuming every big city has a mosquito guy just like you.
Yeah, lots. You'd be surprised. They're all over. So
do y'all have mosquito?
You have a mosquito population. Probably have somebody trying to control.
Do y'all have mosquito conventions that y'all go to?
Yeah. We have the American Mosquito Control Association, and the last one we just had was in Reno. And actually, the next one I have coming up is in Texas. It's actually in San Antonio, and then After that, we're going out of the country. So, but yeah, it rotates all over all the time. But yeah, it's a world convention, the AMCA. So we have people from all over.
Is a bunch of wild, like a bunch of Shriners getting together?
I mean, it's mosquito professionals. So I mean, there's tons of people from all different.
I bet that's an eclectic bunch.
Yeah, I bet you.
It's quite interesting. You have a lot of very educated people,
Right.
Lots of PhDs.
I believe that for sure.
That's what I mean. I bet there's a big spectrum of people at these. I bet you have the PhDs, and then you also got the bubbas that are just, you know.
It ain't a cousin fuckers convention like a waterfowl deal.
Killing mosquitoes with diesel.
Hey, I hire a lot of seasonal techs, and we can get some very colorful seasonal techs, let me tell you.
I bet.
Well, man, we appreciate you being on. We appreciate you listening to the podcast. God bless you, and I hope you have a great summer, and I hope it gets cool fast, and y'all get a bunch of early winter.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank
If
you.
there's anything we can do for you, let us know.
Yeah, please.
Go hit up the Riverwalk whenever you get to San Antonio.
Oh, I've been there. I've been to Texas. I actually hog hunted outside of Uvalde once.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, there you go.
That's Mexico.
Pretty damn close.
That's a dangerous fucking place to be nowadays. Whew.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yep.
Well, good luck to you, and stay safe out there.
Speaking of Uvalde, did you see where we're going to put some kind of marine floats all along the river to keep people out?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's some kind of big, like, they look like what you would have on a ship to keep ships from bouncing into the wall, those big round balls.
Really?
And they're going to put them all along the river where the people can't get over them.
Have you seen this? So there's a new TikTok trend, which anytime you see a TikTok trend, be careful.
I don't TikTok, so I don't have trends.
Well, just hold on a minute. So what people are doing is they're getting their jet boat up to like ridiculous speeds and jumping off of them. Every one of those people died from a broken neck.
These ladies died.
Yeah, they're all dead.
So 3 of those people are dead or 4?
Dead.
Bullshit.
Dead.
No.
Dead, Jeff.
No.
TikTok boat jumping challenge that sees people jumping off vessels moving at high speeds is blamed for the 4 deaths in Alabama as cops say victims broke their neck instantly. So don't do that. They say at the
So
speed,
4 people died in one boat for jumping. What the fuck is wrong with people? How fast were they fucking going?
I don't know, but they said at whatever speed that they were going, it was equivalent to hitting concrete.
Well, I've fall off of some skis at 40 miles an hour before, and it fucking hurt like hell.
But I think what's getting them, and this might not be the video, like there's more than 4 people jumping off, but that dickhead that's jumping with his doing a backflip or whatever, like that's probably the one that.
Why would people think of shit like that?
I don't know.
Did you see the video? Speaking of that, there's this kid, they're borrowing a boat, and the kid looks like they're 16, and he's pulling a kid on a surfboard. And then he gets a kid, and he looks around all of a sudden, and he goes and jumps, and he's gonna surf behind the boat, just walk off the surfboard and get on the dildo. He falls. Ooh. So then the other kid's like, I got you, kind of, and he's pulling himself up, and he falls. The boat goes across the fucking lake with nobody driving.
Dad gum.
Just dumb.
Dumbass.
You can't buy fucking brains. I mean, that's the problem is you can't. There's just some dumb fucking people out there. But no, I did not know that was a TikTok challenge.
I didn't either, but I was on Twitter, and there it was. Evidently, people are dying.
Well, I never owned a boat that would go fast enough to snap your neck.
Don't want to own a boat that fast either.
No, shit, no.
It's a hole in the water that you throw money into.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
All right. You got anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank y'all. God bless y'all. Have a great week. Whenever it comes out. Yes. Thank y'all so much. This will be midweek this week. Peace out. Bye.
Go look at some of our sponsors. Shin Gear just released a brand new jacket. Go check that out. Bibs are coming up shortly. Dirty Duck Coffee, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, Hemp Hill Farm, Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, and Alpha Outdoor Specialties.